We're live. We made it. Hello.
We're here.
Hello, everybody. Check in chat. Please just say you see us. Let us know that we exist. We need to know that we're not just a figment of our own imaginations, because we're back here with the Seattle Indies Expo, talking about all things indie games and Seattle. We are back to talk about the one who struggles, and we are here with, of course, Rick Jur to probably be the one who suffers
I'm gonna suffer.
Oh.
And the developer DW O'Boyle himself. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing all right. How are you all doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining. We're gonna jump right into this because we know that we had plenty of time dealing with tech stuff, so we want to make sure we give your game all of the attention that it deserves. Give us that high-level elevator pitch description of your game, and then we're gonna take a look at the gameplay.
Yeah, so it is a single it's pits the player against a single multi-phase boss. It's meant to be short and replayable, and offers a ton of customization options that you can really fine-tune the sort of challenge you're looking for and all sorts of other features.
Wow. All right. So we were looking at this to start here, and well, we'll get into the specifics later on, but let's start off from the high level here and talk about where did the story of developing this game start, and where did that begin?
Okay, let me think how to phrase this. So essentially it was, I had lost my job, my day job, a few months ago, and was like, I didn't really have time to develop games while working a day job, so I was like, hey, why don't I take a few months, see what I can do in that time, and this was the result. Yeah.
Awesome. And how long have you been working on it?
Well, it's about 3 months full, and it's complete. People can go get it now for free on itch.io. So yeah.
Wow. Now, I want to remind everybody watching here, remember, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. We'll get to them, and we'll make sure to ask them when we have this conversation here. Mac, any questions on your end as we get started here?
I am nervous. It looks so hard. Can you walk us through what Richter's doing right now? There's a lot. There's a lot happening. I don't think I could do it. I think I would be the one who's struggling.
I mean, that's fair. So the premise again is you're trying to fight against this boss, right?
Like the eye.
You have 3 different weapons here. Richter is currently using Hum, which is a homing weapon that will automatically charge shots, and then when you press the button, it releases. You can also hold the attack button and press up to fire single shots off at once. And basically, you got this big orb here in the center. That's the target. And then, so you want to try and, that's where you're going to deal damage, right? But you also have the 2 turrets on either side that can take damage. And then, there's some annoying little harassing orbs that are bouncing around. At least that's in this phase.
This phase?
Yeah.
What?
Oh.
This game is the game of that's not my final form.
Literally, yes. Until it is the final form.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I'm seeing that this game is, well, I mean, obviously brutal. There is a vague reference that I am seeing here, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but is this in any way inspired by games like Battle Kid or Bashi, or that kind of really difficult platformer?
So, actually, no, not at all. I'm actually not a big fan of those sorts of games. But there is probably some unintentional similarities.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said. I was just it might not be. It's something that I latched on.
One of the main inspirations for this game was actually a freeware game though, called Banana Nababa, which came out in the late aughts, that was also a similar thing of like you're gonna face a bunch of boss battles, and you had like kind of simple-ish controls.
I was sorry. I was also looking it up at the same time because I had never heard of Banana Nababa.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So with this now, what would you say was like your greatest hurdle in making this like and in such an engaging combat-y game?
Yeah.
There's a lot of little nuance, right? Like that just is just like endless balance changes, endless, fiddling with things to get them to feel right or, display right, like, and that is it's constantly being like, oh, maybe I should change this, maybe I should do this, right? Especially since it's like a relatively simple game, like in comparison to like there's not like a ton of rooms or even like necessarily like hundreds of like enemies or anything. So like changing like one or two things isn't that difficult, but yeah.
But the response and the like how much that one little thing can change about the game, I could imagine would be sizable.
Yeah. In fact, like I did, a few big recent changes in the last couple of weeks, where like I completely redid how random number generation works. So it used to just be like just all random, and now it's actually determined, and players can set how they want, or if they want, randomness. I don't want to say at all because it always technically exists, but like what flavor. Yeah.
Fascinating. So, Rick, can you speak while playing this?
Yeah. How are you doing?
Oh man, what type of gamer would I be if I can't speak and play at the same time? I might die because I'm like a slither of health right now.
Yeah.
So, where did your like ideas and inspiration come from when it came to like quote unquote the bad guys or like the enemies, like all the drop downs, the things that can hurt you? How did you decide to incorporate those things into the game?
It was one of those things where I was like, okay, I want to have like, this interesting, boss. Like, what is one easy to like animate, or easy to draw? A big circle.
Sure.
And then like, one thing I like about very small, pixel art is that you can make it almost sort of dreamlike and kind of like obscure. So it's like, is this like some weird, biomechanical thing or something? Maybe, maybe not. It's kind of in the player's imagination. So yeah. So I know Richter is currently like looking at some of the game options here, and of course, it has full rebindable controls for both gamepad and keyboard.
Okay, so I would like to get keypad up. So let's go in.
That's cool that you can customize too. So if something feels better for one person, but not for the other, you can really like customize how you want to go about it.
Game accessibility is something that I like really value.
Sure.
Like I would rather make a game that is very simple, that has the options available to as many people as possible, than make something that is long and complicated. And
Absolutely.
Sure. What other accessibility features have you added as well, since this is a topic of interest for you?
Yeah. So you can actually change, like I said, like all the like difficulty. I don't really like the term difficulty, so I use like style instead. But you can change how much health the player has, how much health the enemies have, how much health the boss has, whether or not your health regenerates.
Wow.
How many like projectiles like the boss shoots. and you can, change these in both make it less or more, right?
Okay, so you could really customize the
Yeah,
game
yeah.
experience however you want it to be.
This is wild. So, is there story, or is it just the boss fighting?
So there is quote unquote lore,
Okay.
but it's mostly in references to games that I haven't made yet.
Nice.
Cool.
All
So this is
right.
like the prelogue or the
Yeah.
the epilogue? Is
Yeah.
that the word?
The prologue, I think.
So-
Prologue. The log of sorts.
So it's actually directly connected to the previous game I made called Void Wisp, which was at Seattle Indies 2017, I think.
Okay.
And they're technically connected, even though that game was sort of like a helicopter / Flappy Bird style game. But, it had that similar sort of color cycle and similar accessibility features.
Absolutely. So, all right. So you're making lore for games that you haven't made yet.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Is this is something where like 40 years down the line, you're gonna have the final key to the entire story, and you're gonna unlock it, and everybody's gonna be like, oh, and then you're just gonna disappear and travel into the west, right? Like that's how it works.
Probably not in that way, but it would, like, hopefully, hey, if I'm making games in 40 years, and
There you go. There you go.
but it's, the way I sort of approach lore is more that's stuff for me to figure out, and then all the games would just be, their own thing
Yeah.
with fun little connections between them. I will give Rick a hint here, and that is for the rapid fire weapon that you have, Thorn. If you just get up into the boss's face, you can deal tons of damage, and then you can you'll have a lot a lot easier time, because this first phase is kind of more about how fast can you deal with them.
This is brutal.
Yeah.
It is very brutal.
This is brutal. Like
I'm-
I was raised on Mega Man and stuff, so like platforming boss battles is legitimately like that is honestly my jam. It's like what I did growing up, but this is
There's also some safe spots that you can stand in to then deal damage with the arc weapon. Basically, I tried to give each weapon its own little niche and its own little like when
Purpose.
yeah
Or
like
yeah.
man.
Speaking to like how brutal or hard this game seemingly looks from the outside, when you're programming this and creating it from a dev perspective, how do you know when the game mechanic that you're trying to implement doesn't work, but like the difference between it not working and it just being like a little out of your skill level, but it's still achievable, if that makes sense?
yeah I tried to just play test like a whole bunch. Like I know that one of the issues with just playtesting your own game is that you know all the secrets, right?
Sure. Like I know how to play it.
But there is like one of the things I try and do is I try to watch a lot of other people play similar games and learn okay, well what do they how did those games do, what sort of tricks do those games have?
Sure.
Because if you have a game that's a similar genre, it's probably going to have a similar type of trick in it.
Sure.
That makes sense. Did you have a lot of, or not a lot of, but did you have any challenges that this game brought to you, or were you able to kind of overcome everything that all your ideas, you're like, oh yeah, I can implement this, and yeah.
I've had a lot of challenges, a lot of weird things. Hey, you beat the first phase.
Hey.
Phase first.
First,
What
please.
is this?
That's not
Is
his
there a
fault.
checkpoint?
Oh my god, look at it.
This phase was I think this second phase was actually the one that I had the most difficulty with, just trying to get the concept working the way I wanted. Hopefully we'll see it, but like some of like the later stuff. But it was just like, well, for example, like how many bullets are shooting right now, and how like the frequency of them, and like can you realistically dodge them?
Yeah, I was gonna say the bullets, not only having the bullets shoot, but then the boss immediately chase after the bullets in the same direction is. I was like, oh, you can dodge the bullets, but the charging afterwards is
the boss. The boss always goes in a set pattern.
This
Fortunately,
is nuts, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I'm just echoing what you're saying. Like this is.
Oh. I think if I ever showed this to my stream, they would want me to play it, but I'd have to like put it behind some sort of a paywall because my god, this is brutal. This is awesome, but brutal. So let's talk about the movement and controls and stuff. Now, a lot of the platformers that kind of have this boss fighting platformer mechanic stuff, they have actually a lot of different styles of control, whereas Mario is like you're always on ice for some reason, and Mega Man is when you stop moving, you stop at the actual atom that you have stopped moving in the game, right? So where do you feel like this lies, and what was your inspiration for?
So my like preferred like feel for like platformers is Metroid, like Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, that sort of like, you know, those games, you know, like they have like a sort of like weight to them, like it's not, you know, you have a little bit of friction, you don't have like full air control, so that is kind of the way that I went with. Similarly to those games, in this one, how fast you're moving horizontally determines how high you can jump. And there's a run button, right? So you can actually, if you're, you know, at full speed, you can jump pretty much across the entire screen.
So what you're telling me is that you've added strafe jumping to a 2D platform.
Kinda, yeah.
What kind of wizardry is happening right now? This is amazing. That's actually a really cool idea. Was that something that was? I never played Metroid stuff, but was that a Metroid thing?
Yeah, that's it's in Super Metroid. I don't think it's in the earlier games. Sort of. It's a little wonky because, you know, that game's a
of course
a little wonky, but
even so though, even so, like if that was something that you witnessed there and then took and evolved and grew into your own game, that's wild. That's like so cool. Okay, so speaking of that, like with the movement and stuff, how about the attack styles? You were talking about different styles and things. Let's talk about the different mechanics of how that works. Why did you choose using the ones that you did, and how did you come up with them?
Yeah. So again, like I was trying to come up with stuff that each provides like a sort of like niche, right? So like, you know, the homing weapon here, like it's really good if you're just trying to avoid attacks and running away. It'll automatically charge. In fact, actually, the automatic charge was something I added, I think, last week, because it used to be you had to hold the button down the whole time.
Oh man, and run.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a second, this doesn't feel right.
That's Mega Man right there.
Yeah.
Like a running gun.
Yeah. But
Oh whoa.
Oh yeah.
Whoa.
You got to the second part.
What?
You better kill all these enemies as quickly as possible, otherwise the boss will regain health.
Oh my god.
Oh,
no pressure or anything, Rick. No pressure.
Technically, you only have to kill down to a single enemy. Also, the weird hive thing there will spawn more in. Oh, you got through it all. There you go. So this phase was kind of a pain in the butt to get, because I wanted to make it so that that I would never teleport right next to the player, but also only in set locations.
Sure.
And that was
yeah, absolutely. I could imagine
trying to predict where the player would possibly go and the enemy not to spawn.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man.
Oh, it's like oh man, I'm just trying to run away from it.
It looks like you're running to it.
Also, each time it completes like a full cycle and does its like big middle attack, it'll add another turret.
No.
So I'm really curious. Are you a single person dev team, or do you have a couple people helping you on this project?
No, I did everything, all the art, all the sound, all the music.
Wow, a one-man band. That's amazing.
And you did it in 3 months.
3 months?
Yeah.
Right? That's what I think.
Yeah, 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months. Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. That, like, it's impressive to see what one person can do in a short amount of time. And are you where you want to be with the game, or do you still have plenty of time left to develop more levels?
Yeah, I kind of, like I said, it's released. I kind of just want it to be out there and done with.
Sure. Move on to the next.
Move on to the next things. Even though I do say like 3 months, there is some other stuff where it's just like, okay, like I've had like an idea, like a rough idea for like a few years, right? The main theme of the game was actually written like 10 years ago, and I was just like, I didn't use this for anything. Might as well just do another. Might as well include it in the game, right?
Well done, buddy.
I was doing so good.
That was holy crap. You really were doing really good, man. That was impressive.
So do you have to start over? Or is there a checkpoint?
There's no
All
checkpoint.
over.
Oh.
You can set. If you go to the options, why don't we take a look at some of the styles as long as we have some time here? So,
Sure.
like, if you look at your lives, let's just go through these because these are fun. So you have to click in, and then whoops.
There we go.
Yeah, you can actually set it so that you have infinite lives if you want.
Oh.
Yeah.
You do that with player HP as well?
So you can't, but you can turn the damage that you get that is done to you down to 0.
Okay. All right.
So it's like essentially the same thing, right?
Rick goes and
Turning
turns it up.
to 4.
So that is the damage that you deal to the enemy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say if they're doing it
Like
to
you're-
you, like,
Yeah, Rick,
wow.
what are you doing?
And you can actually turn the damage that's dealt to you by category. So like if you want it to make it so that spikes deal a lot more damage to you, but everything else is normal.
I like this customization. This is really neat.
Yeah.
It is really cool. I've never seen this kind of like a customization on a 2D platformer boss
Yes.
fighter. Like that's dope.
Yeah,
With,
this level is great.
Health drop style, this is kind of fun because so like if you go through that list, right, for the health drop style,
Yeah.
so you have like frequent, uncommon, sparse, that's like a percentage, but keep going. Fixed 10 means that every 10 enemies they'll drop 10 health. Every 10 that you defeat, they'll drop 10 health.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and as needed is kind of like a moving percentage.
We do actually have a question here from August in the chat,
Sure.
and wants to know what's next for the game, and are there new bosses or features that you're still working on?
Yeah, so like I said, there's not going to be new bosses or probably any major content additions. Like if this game, somehow gets like a community around it that are like, interested in like, new like style settings or something, then maybe I will consider adding stuff like that. But other than that, like, I'm pretty much done with it. And, I'm kind of moving on to what I want to work on next.
Wonderful. Well, unfortunately, we are wrapping up the time that we have to talk here, but I do want to say this looks insane and in a good way, also a difficult way, but you know what I mean. This looks awesome and extremely well fine-tuned. We have the trailer for this that we'll play in a minute before we switch out, but I wanted to hand it back to DW O'Boyle to tell us where they could tell everybody where they could find the game and find you or your group or whatnot. Any information or anybody you want to shout out, now is the time.
Cool. Yeah, so you can get the game now on itch.io. Just I think it's just DW O'Boyle, or whatever. That I should have pulled this up for, and dang it. Yeah, and you can
we'll still be going here in a minute, so if you want to grab that and post it in the chat once we're doing the trailer and whatnot, that all works.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at DWOBoyle, and then I have like a game dev Twitter account that's just linked in my pin tweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for showing us your fantastic game. We cannot see what kind of monstrosity you bring next year, or you bring in the future, I should say. But I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you so much for joining. Ladies and gentlemen, DW Boyle, thank you again.
Thank you. We're gonna watch the trailer, and up next, we will be playing or hearing from the devs of Doria.
Ooh.